We are now at a point where we have 6 billion people enabled by mobile devices around the world. That alone changes the playing field for all the companies.
We're constantly looking for new opportunities to use information and insight to enhance efficacy and efficiency that ultimately help us better serve our customers.
Social media allows you to try and build brand loyalty and then actually turn those brand loyalists into actual brand advocates.
It's the ability for individuals to communicate with each other and develop a sense of community, as well as spread outside even their communities anything, whether that's positive or negative about your brand.
The power is so intense, but yet people are afraid to embrace it because of the risks. And it's just like anything else. Done responsibly, managed properly, it can have enormous power for a business entity. I wish the board understood how truly powerful the role of social media is. The power comes from having the engagement of every single person that you interact with instantaneously.
You have a great ability to, stay in contact with your customers, with other key stakeholders. And to use that community of people to actually improve business results.
Social and mobile, certainly in our business as a brand-facing business, is terribly impactful. We have our employees and crew members are also carrying these devices. Our corporate environment users are also carrying these devices. So there are an infinite number of use cases where I can develop applications and services to make them more efficient, to engage them more with our brand.
When you combine social media with the amount of data that's being generated and recorded, what I call digital residue about people, the things that they leave behind on networks, they're interacting on networks, you can learn a lot about them. Social media is really about personalized marketing.
My CEO has said the potential brand reputational issues that now exist are what predominantly keep him up at night, whether that's the use of social media by employees or potential food safety issues or other things that can spread virally through social media. I would be hard-pressed to think of a business that is truly not exposed in some way. At a minimum, all of our brands and businesses can be discussed online. And that is out of your control whether you want it to be or not. So if you're doing nothing, the consumer and new media will potentially do damage to your brand, whether you like it or not, or to your business model, whether you like it or not.
A clear policy on employee use of social media is table stakes for any company that wants to be engaged in social media, or any company that is engaged in social media. And I would expand that to be beyond just an employee policy. I would say it's a workforce policy, because they're more than just employees of the company who potentially carry the brand.
I think our industry is probably one that's the poster child for this over the last few years, where various videos will show up on YouTube with employees doing things they probably shouldn't be. The exposure for your brand reputational risk is enormous. And so we're really quite strict about our direction on the use of social media and what we encourage our franchisees to do.
It can tear down a government in a country. It can also alert people to things that are taking place that we don't know about. And we all want to know about those things. If there is a danger in the product and services that we offer, we want to know about that. We don't want that filtered through 10 layers of management. If our customer service call centers are not operating correctly, we want to know about that.
You have to be credible and honest in the social media channel because everyone is suddenly a journalist and anyone can comment, and that can take on a life of its own. My number one counsel to everyone is accept that it's out of your control. Don't lose sleep over it. If it's happened, and the only thing you can do is go back to brand principles and start working to repair it, both using the new channels as well as traditional channels and means.
We've had a lot of conversation about risks and risk detection, but don't forget that social media is also a great way of looking at new potential opportunities. The really savvy companies are actually utilizing social media to engage with customers for product and service ideas.
At the end of the day, we're all in business because we want to acquire customers and we want to maintain and keep those customers.
We have a case study of an organization that rolled out a product, and they were, had a Facebook page, and they got immediate feedback on the rollout on this product from their customers, and their customers hated it. They knew that within a week, as opposed to 6 months later after the rollout had done, and so they're actually able to change the product, make the necessary enhancements so that they had a newer one by the end of the quarter. Those types of timelines and changes can get positive business results. And an organization that's worried about reputation risk and worried about employee risk will never take the leap to use that way.
The short answer is ignore it at your own peril. But the level of focus is probably a fair question that I would offer. Directors should be focused on their particular business model and industry.
From a strategic standpoint, you need to have a good business case. Obviously, there's going to be a strategic plan that the company has. You need to understand, how does social media fit into that strategic plan? You need to understand, what is my primary purpose here? Is it building more customer engagement? Is it doing more customer service, as we've seen companies like Best Buy and a lot of the airlines are doing? It's probably something along multiple fronts that involve marketing, corporate communications, customer experience.
Let me provide one example of how we've applied this fast and focused innovation process. AT&T IT, working with our colleagues in marketing, sales, and network operations, identified multiple opportunities to better track discussions about the company in social media and other online outlets. There's an obvious need for real-time visibility into what is being said about the company for reputational purposes. But for AT&T, social media monitoring also helps us identify potential network issues and spot emerging world events or external issues that could impact the services we provide.
I think that social media governance is still something that you don't see baked into the strategic execution as well as you could see it. And I think that that's just a natural function of who has normally led the charge. It's the marketing folks, it's the corporate communications folks, it's the people who are driven and incentivized to drive and be nimble and be quick. And so they're not going to have the strongest governance orientation. That's where the board's governance role comes into play, and some of the management level kind of risk-focused and governance-focused roles.
The board's going to ask for an update on a quarterly basis on A, are they using these technologies, and B, what are they getting as a result of that? I think that's really the key with all of the social media stuff is really having an identified business purpose before you start making those types of investments, and then report and say, and this is what we're getting from that. I don't think there's anything more magical than having a business purpose for doing that and then be able to show the results because the capabilities are there and they do work.